Hello, 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 everybody. So we're gonna go live today and see kind of who all is out there in the world. If we get an opportunity to, I'm gonna make sure everything is working correctly first before we get into the meat and potatoes of today. But it's gonna be fun. I'm kind of looking in three different directions, so just go with me on this journey. If I'm not looking directly at you, it's because I'm looking at the chat. And yeah, here we go. So I do have slow on so I can see all of your comments. There's a 30-second delay so it doesn't overcrowd everything. So just bear with me. Bear with me. I'm not sure if it sent out notifications. So if you come into the chat, please let me know if you got notifications, because otherwise I'm doing this a little bit different today. So let's see how it goes. I have, let's see, quite a bit to chat about today. And I know this is super random and in the middle of like everything. I'm going to go ahead and push a notification out on my phone also real quick, just because sometimes it sends, sometimes it doesn't. And so we should be able to get everyone kind of flowing in here. I kind of wanted to just chit chat today because it is a rainy day. So let me get this into my community tab really quickly, and then we should be able to have some fun. So this should be kind of fun. See, on my thing, when I'm looking at it, it's not showing up as live, even though it says it's live. This is the problem with changing things up, guys. So currently it shows that we are live, but it's not sharing. So we're going to share this, and it looks as though it shows that it's public. So let's go in and edit, and here we go. It pushed out to everybody now. So yay! So if you are seeing this in the replay, hello, hello. If you are seeing this live now, hello. And I am very excited about talking to each and every one of you today. It is going to be a good day to have a great day. And so I think that what else we're going to do is we're going to also share this as a created post. And I think we're good. I think we're good. There we go. Okay. Cool. We have pushed it out into the ether and everyone is coming in now. It was doing weird stuff. So hello, everyone. Hello, Tina. Hello, August. We're going to get this chat started in just a few minutes. Because it did not send everything out, we're going to have to kind of like wait for people to show up, and that way we can get started. I have a lot to talk about today. I'm so excited to catch up with everybody and kind of find out what is going on in the world and what everybody's got going on. So with that said, for those of you who are finding my stream brand new, hi, I am Bunny. I am a travel content creator. I travel about 75% of the year. Currently, I am at my base camp. I am here because I got sick and I needed to come home. So I made it back to Texas. I am feeling much better, but we also have some family things I'm taking care of while I'm here. So I'm getting all of that squared away. And then after that, I will be hitting the road. I'm just trying to figure out where to, because the weather has been interesting. Some of the places I wanted to go are currently just not going to be available to me, I think, because of the weird storm systems. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I'll mind my business over here. But in the meantime, I've scheduled a couple things, which I'll be sharing on the channel pretty soon. So hello, everyone. It is so good to see each and every one of you. Oh no, you got sick while you were in Arizona also, Tina? That is so not good. That's not good at all. Trust me, I feel for you. It was not a pleasant time. And then since then, I've kind of had some weird stuff happening too, which you'll see this week. Oh my gosh. Actually, you might see those next week, because I think I'm going to do something kind of special, which I'm going to talk about on this live today. So, yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been a super, super wild ride. Also, my computer is in a real weird spot. So bear with me if you're looking at a weird direction. It just is what it is. For me to see the chat, I kind of have to look off. This is why we usually do this on my phone. Thank you so much, Coffee. I appreciate you. I have so many cool things coming. I've mentioned on the channel that I'm going to be doing some Texas adventuring while I am here, and I have some great things already planned. I just need the weather to work with me because, dude, it has been a lot. Let's just say that. It has definitely been a lot. I got back and I went out to my van the other day. It was like 108 in my van. And then the very next day, I got in the van and I was like, okay, it's much cooler in here. This is interesting. So we're going up and down in temps. Today, we had hail this morning, torrential downpour. It's supposed to torrentially downpour tomorrow. And they've said that we might have hail and possible tornadoes again. So we love that. A lot of people have said, hey, why do you stick around Texas if there's tornadoes? I usually don't. I usually get out of here during the really hot time. I usually get out of here again during the tornado season as much as possible. But like, it's just not an option right now. We had a thing that I had to do here for family. And then I have a special guest coming that's going to be here for a week starting on Wednesday. So it's going to be fun. So yeah, it should be kind of cool. Let's see. In here, it looks as though we have a person from Missouri. Awesome. Love that. How is Missouri right now? I have a friend who just moved up to Ozark, and I told him I was going to come and visit him as soon as I come up that way. I go up to Branson so many times a year, and so I'm kind of excited about it, but at the same time, I'm also like, okay, I just need the weather to not be weird. And it's not so much that it's weird in the part of Missouri that I'm going to, it's that all around it has been weird. And after being in Kansas City with that tornado, no, we're not doing that again. Let me see if I can also change one more thing real quick on the chat. I'm going to try to fix something that I can see on my end, but I don't think you guys can see it, but I want to make sure that it's fixed on my side, if possible. In the meantime, you just got back from Emory, Texas. Oh, cool. It's always nice to go visit family. I appreciate that you like shared that. Let's see. Your videos make everything look fun. Thank you. Sometimes it is a struggle bus amongst us. Let me tell you, sometimes things don't work out how they want them to, but ultimately it always is fun because we're learning, we're growing, we're doing different things. And like, it's cool to get the new brain wrinkles. So even if there's like stress along the way, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'm still working on this, trying to figure this part out. This has taken me longer than I thought it would. Every time that they change something on me, I'm just like, okay, cool. I don't know where to go with this. It's literally not even showing up on my thing. So we'll have to be, I guess, just mindful of this, and I'll hope that this issue that I'm seeing goes away. Oh no, I just don't want it to impact you guys negatively. We have a bot. He's not currently showing up, but he is showing up like in the chat, and I don't want that. It's advertising a link. If you ever see a link in the chat, do not click on it. It is not me, guys. Let's see. Happy Easter to me and my family. Thank you so much. Today's actually my mom's birthday, and so they're resting today. They're hanging out. They're chilling. It has been, like I said, rainy, so not really getting out and doing too much, but I do have something planned to do with my mom on a different day after the rain has passed and after my guest has left. It's going to be something that just my mom and I do, and I will share it with you guys because it's cool. But yeah, we're going to celebrate a little bit after the fact. Let's see. Nice. You'll be moving to Emory the 1st of next year. Oh, very cool. That's very, very cool. Awesome. Well, be safe and have a good time with your move. And that would be absolutely awesome to relocate, especially if you're getting closer to people that you know. Let's see. Also, I think that we're getting enough people in here now that it's sending out stuff. That's good. Okay, so one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about today is I posted a survey over on my community tab. I've been just throwing a lot of different things out on my community tab lately, channels that I think are fun, people that I think you guys might enjoy watching, some old school videos, a few photos that aren't released anywhere else. And then also today I had a survey. Now this survey is pretty special to me because this upcoming week, guess what, guys? I've been traveling for 8 years as of this coming week. So that is super, super cool. And I was kind of like reflecting, thinking about what started me out on this journey of wanting to share my adventures and then kind of how that started versus where I am now. And from the very beginning, I have been super honest with you guys. I have never been full-time on the road. I travel about 75% of the year now. I have done that since I got the van in 2020. But before that, I was traveling probably, I want to say about 50% of the time because I would have to come home, work, save money, then go out again. And I was tent camping everywhere. And so I was kind of looking at that path to from where I was to where I am. And I was like, oh, this is wild. Like, again, I've talked about this many times on my channel about like all the places that I probably would have never gone if I hadn't have started doing this because like I just didn't have that in my wheelhouse. And at the same time, I didn't think I could. And so by the time that I started out tent camping and I was traveling like that, and I started to enable myself to do all these cool things, I had so many cool adventures, but I never really talked that much about like the tent camping part of it. And I also never really talked that much about like the in betweens. Now I've added that to my channel because many of you have asked about like the van portion and then the in betweens. And so with that, I have been like doing all these little special things here and there. And I kind of really appreciate that you guys have given me that feedback. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to give a little bit more feedback on something. I want to celebrate my 8 year, but I don't want to do it just like, oh, look at these pictures, because we can do pictures all day long. I have so many pictures of the thousands of places that I have been. But I thought instead I have like these 6 videos that never made it to the channel for whatever reason. They either got lost on a hard drive or they got thrown into a bin and I found them and I was like, oh, we never posted this. So I was thinking, what if we watch those? What if we see those? What if we celebrate with those? And so the survey is, would you be interested in seeing those pieces of footage that were never seen before? Now, I want to set this up with you guys by telling you, hey, be kind. Some of those are old videos. And so with that, you're going to see a very different side of the channel. A side that wasn't necessarily as professional, I guess would be the best way. So if you've come along later in the journey and you watch those, you're going to be like, what is this? And if you've come along at the beginning, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's before I sat down and was like, okay, we need to have a little come to Jesus with myself on how we're going to film and how we're going to improve. And I've talked about this many times with you guys throughout our adventures. And I've said, whenever I started out, I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah, this is some of that where I didn't know as much about what I was doing, but I still wanted to put together videos. And so some of these I've taken and I have now looked at, and I'm like, okay, so the videos themselves weren't great. However, I can fix some of these so that it's a little bit more palatable because I would speed up too much or I'd pan too quickly. And so I think by doing that, that'll allow you guys to see the rawness of the early days. And again, to encourage anyone who wants to get out there and do YouTube, if you want to do YouTube, you don't have to have the most knowledge to do YouTube. You can come up and you can get better and better and better until you develop who you are as a human and how you can express that outwardly to everybody else. And so I thought by sharing this, it would be a good way for you guys to see some of the cool places, but also to see how the channel has grown so much in 8 years. And oh my gosh, I was watching one of them and I was like, oh, I want them to see this. So if you guys want to see it, make sure you go and answer the poll. Just say yes or heck yes or whatever the options are. I don't remember. I did it this morning. And I'm going to, I think, roll out 1 week of those, 1 week to celebrate 8 years, starting on Monday, I think. And I won't do any like preface, this was filmed back in 2017 or anything like that, or this was filmed in 2018. But you'll be able to see the difference. And then I'll pick right back up where I'm doing my Texas adventures. I already have videos I was originally going to have scheduled for this week. They're already done. They're already finished. They're already edited. But I was thinking about that and I was like, I want to celebrate on the week that I actually started out officially on my channel. And my very first trip with my friend Pam was anniversary of this coming week. And so I was like, oh, we have to do this. So I want to do that. And then there's a couple other small things that I want to do, sharing some old photos on my community tab that I'll be doing all week, just to kind of like give you guys a behind the scenes of like where we started out versus where we are now. I thought that would be kind of fun. I don't really celebrate milestones very often. I'm not one of those people who is super numbers driven when it comes to like, oh my gosh, popularity is this XYZ number. I'm just not. I more so am about the content and the brain wrinkles and the experience that you guys have. And it's always been that way. From the very beginning, from the first adventures, I've always said live life more fully. And my goal was to show that by leading by example. And so even if I had 4 followers at 8 years, I'd be thrilled to death. And I know that sounds really silly, but realistically, I am so thankful for each and every person who has not only come along for the adventures, but also who has stuck around and subscribed. But like, I think that the bigger picture is, again, I want to enable you guys to understand that like, it doesn't matter if you have an old beat up jalopy, a tent, a weekend that you can go somewhere, a month that you can go somewhere, a day you can go somewhere. There is adventure to be had, and you don't have to do it how I do it, but more so just see that you can do it. And so through these videos, I hope that everybody sees that like you can, And it doesn't matter if you are the best at it. It doesn't. If you want to do something, you just got to get out there and start doing it. And eventually, the process will take you along if you go with the ebbs and flows to improve your craft, to get better, to feel more confident, all those things. Because we've all been there, guys. We've all been there. So it is what it is. With that, let me say hello to a few people and then we'll continue. Hello, Gina, first and foremost. Hi, hi. I miss you, friends. It doesn't do the thing on here like it does whenever I do the other thing, but you get it. It's a heart. It's going your way. Let's see. Oh my goodness, Coffee, thank you so much. Your videos give courage. I hope so. I hope that people realize that we can do so much more than we allow ourselves to think that we can. Like that's ultimately the bigger picture of everything is like you can be someone who has had a goal of doing something and just put it off because you didn't feel confident, and all it takes is you stepping toward it to actually be closer to it. And then the more steps that you take toward it, the better that it gets because like the more you start to get closer and closer to that goal. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Butterfly Smiles. I'm so excited that each and every one of you are joining me this afternoon. Again, it's raining here in Texas, so I thought, why not? Let's chat. We haven't done that in a bit. I'm not the greatest at planning lives because I never know where I'm going to be. And the last time that I did a live was way back in Barstow. And so I was like, okay, let's heal, let's mend, and then let's do a live and chat for a little bit. Why not? I thought I was going to pull Riley in so she could join us for the chat, but she's actually working right now. So that didn't work out, but it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, back to what I was kind of talking about a little bit there. My goal has always been very apparent, very much part of the channel. It's embedded in everything that we do. Have fun, get experiences, live life, and learn. Learning is so important. And so I think that each thing that we do helps us learn something. It's not always necessarily the big things, it's sometimes the little things. For example, on this particular trip that I just got back from, you could see that, like, even though I've been on the road as long as I have, I had the great equalizer of sickness. And that's not something that's happened to me at any other point while I've been on the road. Now, let me say, way back in 2019, I did get super, super sick. However, it was during the time whenever I was home. So it wasn't on the road that I had to deal with that. It was right after New Year's. I had come back from Vegas. I was super, super ill. And turns out it was the Coco the drama queen, and I was ill for about a month. But I was already planned to be here because of some other obligations that I had. So it wasn't as bad as popping up that sick on the road in the van and then having to deal with it. And then some people ask, well, why did you film it? Because people need to understand that, like, if you're full time, guess what? That's your existence. It's not fun. It was horrible. A lot of people gave lots of information on sickness and things like that. I contacted people that I knew who have medical stuff in their background and basically figured out kind of what I needed to do. I fixed myself up, patched myself together, and got back home and I rested. And that was the best thing I could possibly do. And as you can see, I'm good now. We've had some like other hookups, other things, some other like oohs, oh no's. But like other than that, like, you know, you live, you learn, move forward. It is what it is. Along the way, also, I think that a few other things that I've had people question about is like, okay, so what kind of like makes you select kind of your path and things like that. And I've kind of talked about that a little bit before, but on this last trip, especially, I kind of showed like sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason. Sometimes I flip a coin and that's how I figure out where I'm going. I try to travel with the weather, but I've also kind of just thrown myself out there and been like, okay, let's find something. Sometimes I drive and I pull over and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And that completely derails all the plans that I had because that thing is the coolest. And so I don't think you necessarily have to have the most plans in order to make the most impact on your adventures. And I, again, acknowledge that I travel very differently than most people. So that's kind of what inspires me to do that. But yeah, let's see. We have a few in here. Hello, Mr. Murphy. Hello, Elsa. Hello, Butterfly. I think I said hello a while ago. Oh my goodness. Sammy the Slug Book. Yes. Okay, so my goal is to do more Silly Slug stories. I had a kind of situation. I have this drawing tablet that I use with my laptop. Somehow they managed to phase themselves out of working with the Mac. Don't know. Not sure. I've looked into it. There's nothing I can really do about it. It's basically a brick now, unless they make some modifications. So I decided I was going to take Sammy in a little bit of a different direction when it comes to how I do the art for it, because I can't use that drawing pad now. So I've been really trying to perfect my craft at like painting and drawing, like freehand and things like that. And that's something that has been really fun for me, but at the same time, isn't necessarily my biggest skill set. I can do just about anything if we work on hard enough, though. So I'm hoping to have more Silly Slug stories very soon. I have probably about 5 can't talk, Silly Slug stories already kind of like scripted out. I know what the book says. I just need to do the illustrations. And that's the hardest part, is the illustrations, because it takes the longest. Now with Sammy, the first edition, it was more so about getting like used to the process of the self-publish and things like that, but also to find out what the quality was. And so I didn't even want to list it. It's been on Amazon for quite some time, but I didn't want to list it for the longest time. And I considered not listing it at all until I had the second book to follow up so I could have a series. But I decided I'd just put it out there anyway. And then that it's for smaller kiddos, and we're going to advance with the different slug stories so that we'll have different age demographics, and those will all be marked on Amazon. I'm so excited though, because I have some fun things. I have created a set of characters. In fact, BRB, let me show you something. Okay, I should have been more prepared, guys, but I have been working in my free time on things, and I've been really inspired by different kinds of characters throughout life. I've showed you guys that I was really into like Shel Silverstein and things, and because of that, I was like, okay, you don't have to have the most like crazy looking design. It doesn't have to be full color everywhere. You can sometimes just have something very simple in an otherwise like somewhat less graphic thing. So I decided one of the things that I would do is I would create a series of these little characters. Now, the way that I start out on this, it's kind of just a practice. I start out with a plain page and I just draw shapes like this. It's a really good way for me to like experiment with shapes. But then I fill them in with watercolor, and then I use acrylic marker, and we turn out to something like this. And I don't know if these guys will be the ones that we use in the stories, but it's really fun to be able to embody different emotions and feelings with these guys. So I've been working on that so that we can kind of investigate more characters for the children's book series, because I think it'll be super fun. And I would like to do my own travel children's series. I have a family on here. I'm not sure if they're in the chat or not, but the Traveling Taylors, they had reached out to me to see if I would do a set of curriculum for some of the places that I go for their kids, because they're on the road with their kids. And so I thought that would be super, super fun. And it could be something that I could share that would help people kind of move through the places that we go, either digitally through the videos that I do, or if they go there themselves, they could have something physical that would help them kind of like navigate in a way that they connect with. And so I'm possibly going to be starting on that project pretty quickly, but I was trying to figure out what I wanted my characters to be. And so that's why I've been doing this. I'm also trying to teach myself how to draw more realistic things. So I drew a cat. It's not the greatest cat in the world, I'm aware. Flowers, you know, the things that you would find in a graphic book of any kind. And so I've been doing that. And then also I've been trying to like recreate the places that I enjoy. So, you know, if nothing else, it's giving me a nice peaceful thing to do whenever I'm here at base camp. But then also I've been really playing more with expression just overall and how to create certain things. So like trees, just lots and lots of trees, because we're in the forest pretty frequently, and doing stuff like that. And so I've had several people ask me about, you know, what started me in on this. What kind of materials I'm using. So I may share some of the materials that I'm using on an upcoming video, as I just kind of do like a storytelling episode or something of kind of what I'm doing in that moment. But going back to Sammy, I think we can recreate Sammy in a watercolor. And if we do, whoo-hoo, Sammy could go on all sorts of adventures. So that's kind of what I've been up to, just working on those kinds of things. And otherwise, yeah, just keeping myself busy with all of the craziness from the world, you know? Texas is a place that I have kind of dipped my toe into over and over because I come back for, my base camp, but I don't really do as many things here because typically when I have to come back for my tag renewal, it's hot. And then whenever I'm here for Christmas, I'm here for Christmas. So I'm here to see my family. But with me being here kind of at a weird time, there's so many things that I could do. So I've been kind of making a list of some interesting things that have gotten me going, and then I am kind of starting to check a few of those things off. And then that's going to improve even more so over the next couple of weeks as I have a special guest and then also a few other activities that I'm going to be doing with my family. So, with that, that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of what we're up to. We're going to have the release of those old, never before seen videos. We're going to have the Texas adventures. I'm probably going to do some Oklahoma adventures too. And then I have one really big project that I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I even need to start on this. It's something deeply personal to me. And I'm going to enlist you guys to help me out with it, I think, because it's something that I am just racking my brain over and I would like to find answers, but at the same time, I'm really struggling to get to those answers because I keep hitting dead ends. So I'm going to kind of figure out how I want to share this with you all. Um, and what this is going to look like as a bigger thing. This goes deep into history, very personal history, my family's history, in fact. And so I want to be able to share some of these things because I ultimately have a goal with them. And I can't tell you more until I explain the whole thing, and then it will totally make sense. But just know that this is going to be a project that I will not be able to finish quickly. It's not. This is not a project that I'll be able to finish probably even within the next year, I would say. This is going to be something that I just have to chip at a little bit here and there, but I need you guys. So I will share that soon. Probably sometime next month, I'll share that. I just need to kind of like, again, put my ideas together and then figure out how I want to proceed so that this can be the most efficient. I even thought about this is such a big project. I almost broke it apart and put it in a different place because I didn't want you guys to be like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But I think it does make sense because of all the brain wrinkles that we do here. And I think that it'll be really cool. So, that said, I'm very excited about the future. I always have 700 things kind of going on. And I don't really share all of those usually, but right now I've been sharing more of them so you guys can kind of see how the inner workings of my brain work. A lot of people have continued to say, you have so much energy. And that's why it was such a big deal whenever I was sick, because I had no energy and it was the worst feeling on earth because I go 90 to nothing and I had to sit still and that was so hard. Let's see. I'm really excited about it, guy. It's going to be super, super fun. Teresa, this is just a pour painting that I did. I did this pour painting probably, I want to say 2016, 2017. Adventure with Jay. Absolutely. So I'm trying to go through and see if I have any of my camping itself. I don't know if I do, that hasn't been seen. Again, I didn't do a lot of the actual camping portions whenever I was talking about my travels because I just didn't think anybody cared. That wasn't, again, my goal to show camping. It was to show experiences and places and hope that people would see those and be like, oh, I want to go there. Because ultimately that's what I was doing. But at the same time, I think that it would be very interesting if I can find a little bit of the camping portions of that to show to people. So, like right now, I have a video of a really cool hike that I took where I made coffee on the side of a mountain, which was really fun. I have an adventure that I did with my friend Anika where we did one of the toughest hikes I've ever done, but it's like such a interesting thing because like if you look on, I always say I'm outsidey, not outdoorsy. But when I first started out, I was doing these super, super long hikes. And like one of these hikes was like a huge, difficult hike. And I did that with my friend just on a random day. We were like, yeah, let's go do this. Um, and now I look at it differently because I have a harder time hiking because my lungs. And so I'm like, oh. So I want to share that one because it's just such a good, like empowering moment, but also it inspired me again as I was like showing it to myself. I was like, oh yeah, that's where we want to get back to. So like when I see these, I'm just like, okay, are the videos the most professional? No. Are the videos the quality that I do now? No. Is the quality of the actual cinematography the same? No. But at the same time, everyone starts somewhere. And thinking back in my own 8 years, I think the best part of it is that as I think back into those 8 years, I'm like, "Wow, not only look how far we've come from like, oh, I would never go camping to now I travel 75% of my life and sleep in my van, but it's also like, oh, wow, I taught myself this entire skill set that I get better at each time that I try something and I continue to add to." So that part is the coolest. Hello, Mary. Teresa says that it looks like the soil. Possibly. These are really fun. These are really easy flow paintings. You can buy Floetrol from Lowe's and you mix in paint with it and then you just pour it onto the canvas. I do recommend at least putting like a white base down and then just pour the paint and you rotate your canvas and you get these really cool designs. Super easy. Again, super therapeutic. Art is amazing. I think that if more people like invested their time into just like some therapeutic art, they'd feel so much better. Oklahoma and toll roads. Okay, so there are some toll roads. I always set my GPS for where it takes me to places that do not have toll roads. So I'll take the back way. It might be longer, but it ends up getting me there just the same. So, yeah. I think that that's the biggest thing though is like whenever you're kind of on the road more, you start to learn those little weird things that you might not normally do. Like the minute you have to pay a couple tolls is the minute you're like, okay, how can we avoid this? Let me pull up the map. And then you're like, oh, there's an option here. Cool. I used to use that in Dallas a lot because Dallas has a toll road here and a toll road here. And both of the ways into downtown Dallas were toll roads. And I learned real quick I did not want to pay that toll. So I had side suite. And also another thing that would be really, really easy for you to use, they have a few different apps that literally can change your life. So I use Google Maps and Apple Maps, obviously, but also I use, let me see, I can't think, I didn't download it on my phone again the other day whenever I lost part of my phone. Um, Waze. Waze. I need to re-download that. Waze will not only route you away from toll roads, but if you get into traffic, it'll be like, "Oh, take this and to avoid the traffic." They also allow people to report like where there's traffic, where there's accidents, where there's police. And if you want to avoid any of those weird congestion moments, it's really easy. So that's Waze, Waze. Not to mention you can change the voice on Waze and he'll talk to you in all sorts of cool voices. I love that. Let's see. Additionally, I'm just going through and making sure I didn't miss anything. I have everything in slow mode, so I don't, but also every so often it still does this weird jogging thing. So I don't know, guys. I just don't know. Let's see. Since Easter is tomorrow, I hope everyone has a safe Easter. Remember, holidays of any kind, there are more people on the road, which means it is a little bit more dangerous. If possible, avoid major roads on any holiday. Also, Easter usually isn't one of the ones where people get loaded and then drive around, which that's good. I avoid New Year's and the 4th of July like the plague. I do not want to be on the road at all. No, ma'am, Pam. We're not doing that. I just don't want to get in a situation, not because of my own driving skills, but because of the driving skills of others. And unfortunately, you just can't trust other people during those two particular holidays. It's bad. It's really bad. Let's see. So, yes, happy Easter. Be safe. Do something cool. If you do not celebrate Easter, that doesn't mean that you cannot get out there and do something epic. But, maybe don't pick a place that's like a public park because it's going to be packed because they're probably going to do an egg hunt. Maybe don't pick a place that's like a restaurant that a lot of families are going to come to because it's going to be really packed. Try to find something outside, like outside and away from those places. Da-da-da-da-da. Also, I'm just kind of catching up again. Woo-to-do-to-do. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else has been going on. There's been so many things. I've taken a trip with my dad, which you'll see the remainder of that episode tomorrow. It'll be really fun. I'm excited. It's in Oklahoma. It's close to Durant. If you haven't seen today's video, we went to Fort Washita, which will be tomorrow's video. And it's one of the more fascinating places that I've been, but more so because I got to go with my dad. And my dad's been there so many times because he enjoys going there because each time that he goes, there's something a little bit different. And so I think this was his 4th trip and I got to go with him on this one. So yay, we loved that. I also went out on an adventure toward a historic spot in Texas that is really neat. the story behind it is one that will kind of make your mind go. So that was kind of cool. I also did another adventure where we went to a Celtic festival, a Scottish and Celtic festival. That was fun. We explored some of our roots. It was neat. I'm trying to think, what else have we done? We've done a lot. I think that there is, in fact, let me just go look. I'll go peruse real quick and tell you exactly what it is that you have coming since you joined me on the live. I'll give you that behind the scenes little moment. So we have coming up, of course, we have the week of the never before seen videos. We also have the Celtic Festival. We have, ooh, ooh. I did kind of a true crime adventure. Let me preface this by saying the reason why I did this is because I want to, first and foremost, make people more aware of the places that we go. But also because it's something that impacted me when I was younger. It happened right in my backyard. And so you'll be seeing that very soon. I have a little information on there that I hope kind of allows you to see that if you are in a remote space, always just kind of head on a swivel, one of those things. So I have that coming up. I have a couple of reviews for some products, one of which is the huge tent that was sent to me that I was going to take with me to Schoolie Palooza that wouldn't fit in my van. I told you guys I would use that for something, and I found the perfect way to use it. So you'll get to see not only how I use that, but also a little behind the scenes of what's been going on in my chaotic life right now, because it ties in together. It's just been wild. We also have a couple of questions that you guys have been asking about van builds. I did a video kind of addressing that. I addressed privacy because a lot of people have been asking me about privacy and how I achieve it, what has worked, what hasn't worked, why I chose the things that I did. And so I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. And then I kind of have an update as to what's been going on with all of this, which, as you can see, I am okay, but also I'm still not okay. But you'll see what I'm talking about, and it'll make way more sense. I kind of addressed it a little bit on my video of unloading the van, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll just put it this way. It's going to be weird. It's just going to be weird. I did an activity with my parents that's really, really fun, just something that we enjoyed doing. And then also I have a tour of my friend's bus that will be coming out. A lot of people have asked just to see the tour, and previously I had put out a tour of their bus, kind of, but a lot of people did not see it, and they've been asking if I could just set it in a specific place so they could send it off to somebody else for inspo. And so I was like, yeah, sure, okay. So I have that coming out also, and so lots of interesting things. But again, I have several other mini Texas adventures and then some bigger Texas adventures. I was planning on doing an overnight at a state park the other day, and I got completely rained out, so I just didn't even go. It was super sad. I want to check out a few of our state parks here in Texas so you guys can see what they're about, because they're a great resource to all of us. But again, the weather has just been wild. We had super, super hot, like 99 degrees one day, and then like rain. Like, okay, can we get a break, please? I know that the world is shifting, but please no. Elsa, the shirt that I'm wearing, it's just an Outcast shirt. I got it at Walmart. I like Andre 3000. He's super cool. He also has a flute album that he has made that people are sampling. It's super fun. So yeah, it's just a Outcast shirt. Additionally, speaking of shirts, a lot of people asked if they could have a Weird Kids Club shirt. I am working on one of those. I have 3 different iterations currently, and I am hoping to release one to you guys by the beginning of May. I just want to see what they look like in print. I want to see what they look like with different colors behind them, just to kind of see. And my goal is the beginning of May for that. A lot of people have also been asking for updated merch. I'm working on all of that. I have so many things going on in my brain right now, but I do have currently existing merch is always listed below my videos after they go live. And so you can find those. If you click on any of it, takes you to my shirt shop, takes you to all sorts of things that I have on there. I don't like to put my name on everything. I feel so uncomfortable doing that. I think that there is a time and place for that. And I understand people want to wear the merch that has my name on it too. And I do have something for that. However, I really, really prefer to create things that are unique and different for travel. So they have a lot more like purpose for you guys. They're a conversation starter for you guys. And so I think that that's better than just advertising myself. However, because people have been asking for at least one more branded item, I'll create another branded item for you guys. And that's not a big deal. And I'll try to push that out in May also. But I just, it's for lack of other words, it's kind of cringe to me to only advertise stuff that has my name on it because that's not the purpose of what I'm doing at all. So instead, I have like Kirby Queen stuff. I have cute little raccoon things. I have things with travel, with vans, with protecting the planet kinds of things. I have May the Forest Be With You, all of which are original designs that I've created. And so whenever you guys purchase anything from my merch shop, it is all designed by me. So that makes me happy. It makes me happy to see people who get excited about the stickers and stuff like that. And I'm always trying to like think of new things that I can put on there, new little slogans. And the Weird Kids Club wasn't something I was intentionally going to do, but at the same time, there were so many people that I was like, you know what? I could rock a Weird Kids Club shirt myself because I am a weird kid and that would be fine. So yeah, we're working on all of that kind of behind the scenes. Again, I kind of want to do something a little unique with this particular drop of stuff. So working on it and it'll be cool. um, Again, nothing against anyone who does put their name on merch or anything like that. And I do believe in trade value of things. Like, for example, I have my subscribe stickers that I just give to people whenever I'm out and about if I meet them, because it's like a marketing thing to like link up with your friends. Every van person has a version of a sticker, and that's cool. But also, like, I don't feel like necessarily everything should just scream, Bunny Plays Here. I think instead we should scream, get out there, live life, you know? Let's see. Also, I am currently in the process of putting together because people have been requesting a few other things. I have some dedicated videos that will address some of the bigger questions from our Q&A series. I did like 3 different, I think, Q&As on this past trip just to address the volume of questions that I get. But there are some that like I feel like they're a little bit more in depth. It's kind of like the one about privacy and about the van build. Those are things that I could tell you about them, but showing you and making it make more sense, I think, is better. So for those subjects, I'm going to do a few more of those kind of videos. I'll just sprinkle them in probably May, June. To be honest, just so they're not like boom, 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 because that's a lot. But at the same time, I want to answer the questions that people have because I know a lot of people, especially as summertime gets closer and closer, they want to get out, they want to do more things. And especially my audience that I have here who is not full time or wanting to be full time, I think that encouraging vacations is such a positive thing. Encouraging people to get out and see things on a long weekend, super positive thing. I want there to be a place for everyone here, not just one specific niche of people. And so, yeah, that's kind of why we're going to do those. So you'll see those kind of pop up May, June. Yeah. I like being able to share some of these behind the scenes things because these are just things that kind of go on in my brain. And I know that you guys kind of probably are like, oh, she's never going to answer my question. And I try so hard, but there's so many good questions. Like so many of you have great insight or things that you're really interested in. And so I try really hard to take that time and sit with it and do something to actually be beneficial versus just a comment response. Sometimes that's not enough. How do I find all the places? Well, there's a lot of ways that I find places. In regards to the interesting places that I go that are kind of off the beaten path, that are strange, I look at Atlas Obscura, I look at Roadside America. I also have a couple of creators that I really enjoy watching that do not do what we do whatsoever. I like Adam the Woo and Jacob the Carpetbagger. Both of them go to really obscure places. Adam goes a little bit more to Disney these days, but at the same time, if you look at his volume of work as a whole, he goes to some wild places, and it's so fascinating. He also does movie locations. I also like to watch Random Land, which is his name is Justin, and he does some really cool things. Whenever I started out, I didn't watch camping channels. I didn't watch van channels. I watched regular channels that I was like, oh, I would love to go there. And I still, to this day, that's most of what I watch. I do try to every so often just have a day where I'm like, let's go find some new people that I'm curious about. And I'll go watch travel style channels like vans and camping and things like that. I like to watch some through hikers. But for the most part, I try really hard to just focus on, like, hey, I'm interested in these places and I'm constantly in a work mode, which I know is exhausting to a lot of people. But for me, that's where I thrive. It's my sweet spot. Also, additionally to that, I also find places whenever I'm looking on social media, I'll just go look up a hashtag. Like, for example, I'm in Texas, I'll hashtag Texas and just go through the videos and see what people are talking about, what's interesting, what strikes my fancy. If there's something interesting there, I'll go down the rabbit hole of Googling it, looking it up, just checking to make sure it is going to be something that's going to be legitimately something. And that's pretty much the research that I do. I try not to do more than that. I want to get the experience from the location, not necessarily from researching the topic a lot. Now, there are some things that I have to put in a little bit more footwork on. There's one particular Texas adventure that if I accomplish it, I have definitely put some research into it, only because it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal, guys. One of the major things that we have now in our world happened as a result of something historically that happened in Texas. And I want to cover that because I don't think people know about it. And I don't think we talk about it. And it definitely needs to be spoken about at least a little bit. So that one I did research, but you'll know that one when you see it because I will outright tell you I researched this one. Part of the reason why is because there's not a lot of information even at the location. So yeah. But other than that, I mostly just kind of doom scroll, find something, and I'm like, oh, let's do this. And then along the way, from the path of wherever I am to wherever I'm going, if anything else stands out to me, if there's a brown sign, if there is a historical marker, if there is an interesting looking store, I stop. And that's how I find so many of the hidden gems that I find. As for trails that I find, I use All Trails quite a bit. All Trails is a great resource because it shows you the length, the feedback from other people. It shows you pictures. It tells you about how difficult it is, what the elevation climb is, all of those things. So that is super helpful for that. From beautiful Florida, hello, Debbie. Oh, nice. Yes, Blind Goose has always been super, super nice. I did like a little interview with him. He was just super, super cool. And we just had a really good chat. And so, yeah, brown signs are your friends. Absolutely. Brown signs are some of the best friends that you can find. I don't know how many times that I've gone into a random place because I've seen a brown sign and been like, oh my gosh, how did I not know about this? There's so many cool things. Oh, you've been watching the cooking videos. Nice. I love to do the cooking videos because it allows people to see that you can have more than a peanut butter sandwich on the road. Whenever I first started out and I was in a tent, I would have to cook my meals every day and do all those things, or I'd have a mountain house, or I'd go eat somewhere. And I kept hearing people say, whenever I got into the van space, like, you can only have peanut butter sandwiches because that's the only thing that you can do, or a can of soup that's not heated. And I'm like, why? Like, no. So after I figured out that people were just like not understanding just the true capabilities that you have, it just takes a reframing of how you do things. I was like, we need to share some of these things because people can do much more again than they think that they can. Thank you for letting us know the wattage. Always, absolutely. I think that that is one of the bigger things that I noticed whenever I was researching certain things, is that certain things that I'm looking for, there's just no knowledge of on the internet. Part of the reason why I do the reviews that I do is because I got really tired of looking something up and people be like, these are all the specs, these are all the things, and then they never speak on them again. And so I don't know if they work. I know what they got in a box. And so I wanted to make sure that whatever I did was following through with each item to show you, hey, this is what it is. This is how we use it. This is how long I'm going to use it. This is how I beat it up. This is how it continues going, or it doesn't. And because of that, I've been able to see that there are some flaws in some of the things. And I try to be honest about those too. I do give companies the benefit of the doubt that, hey, maybe you just had a oopsie. But sometimes it's not an oopsie. Sometimes it's a legit, oh no, this is a problem. And so by sharing those things, as opposed to just being like, oh yeah, look at this pretty thing, and then boop, off it goes, I'm able to do a little bit more when it comes to the overall consistency of each brand. And I think that that's something that every creator should do if they're showing a product, to be honest. And shame on them if they don't, because again, I understand, like, Not everybody wants to follow through on things. Some people just like the shininess of something and then they sell it off, which is also a no-no. Um, we won't get into that right now. I know lots of creators who have done that. That is not good. That is very bad. But there are lots of reasons why people don't ever show a thing again. Whenever I first started out, I noticed that like I was more on Instagram than I was even on YouTube. And on Instagram, I would notice this entire group of people would get paid for these brand deals and never speak about the product again. And I was like, that's kind of crummy because like you basically trick people into you getting a paycheck. I hate that. So what I'd rather do is say, okay, let me beat something up. Let me be mean to it. Let me run it through the mud. And then if it still works and you want it, there it is. Then you know that you're investing your money in something that's quality. Because especially like with power stations and stuff, like I've reviewed so many power stations. And over the time of me reviewing them, not all of them have been all they've been cracked up to be. And I've always been honest about that. But that's why I started saying, hey, I would rather you let me do this. Here it is, so you can see it, so you can do your research. But let me talk about it as I move around with it. And if there's anything wrong, I don't want you to put your money into something that's going to do this for you. I just don't. Because $1,000 out of pocket is not something that everybody's just going to be like, oh, yeah, let me just over and over. They're just not going to want to do that. So I would rather be the person who's like, okay, let me take something and then it just be like, okay, now I don't have a power station. Here's this backup power station. Than for somebody else to have that and not have a backup. What's a brown sign? So I'm not sure where you are from, Breathless, but in the United States, in most states, they have brown signs which indicate like an educational resource or a historic stop. And so whenever you're going down the highway, you'll just see a brown sign with words that might say, for example, Fort Washita. That's the place that you'll see tomorrow on my channel. It'll just say Fort Washita, and it'll tell you approximation of miles or the direction that you have to go in. And if you follow those brown signs, you find cool stuff like forts and historic markers, historic sites. Sometimes they take you to wildlife refuges. Sometimes they take you to old railroads, stuff like that. It just kind of depends on where you are, but that's what the brown signs are. They're educational stops. They're like usually considered to be a state or federal site of some kind. I don't know what the classification exactly is to be the brown sign, but I know that they have them in most states. Anyway, sorry, I had to get my breath. It was a lot of breathing in between the little short words, and it didn't add up to a full breath. But yeah, so those are the things that we're kind of working on. Those are the things that I have coming. Those are the things that like just been on my noggin. It is what it is. And yeah. So, okay, question for everybody who is in the room right now. If you have not already, where are you from? What's the weather like? Because I'm trying to plan my travels. Again, I have a few things that I definitely want to do, but it's been very difficult because of the weather. Sandra, you have them in England as well? Nice. So whenever I go over there eventually, I will be like, okay, cool. Florida, 83 and beautiful. I'm jealous. I'm super jealous. I need to go back to Florida at some point. I haven't been there since, I want to say it was 2016 was the last time I was in Florida for like an extended time. And then I drove with my friend Anika in like 2018, 2019, I think. And I was there for like 2 days. And that was the last I have been to Florida. So it is what it is. Cold and rainy now in central Oklahoma. Same here. It downpoured and it was just bleh. Arkansas is overcast. See, Arkansas is my through state. So a lot of times I go through Oklahoma or Arkansas to get to where I want to go. And the problem is you guys have been having some wildness in the areas I have to go to. So it's like, okay, simmer down. Rebecca, if you're from Arkansas, another couple that I really enjoy their content is Arky Travels. They have really cool places that they go and highlight your state, and it makes me want to go there so much more each time. They don't do as much on YouTube now. I think they do more on social media, but I think they've teamed up with the Arkansas Parks too, and they have some cool stuff that they do with them, which is really neat. In fact, I just saw, I think it was a reel from them where they went on the railroad out of Van Buren, and I was like, oh, I want to go. Smoky Mountains, I would believe. Okay, it just moved on me, sorry. Beautiful and green over there. Yeah. There's a few people I watch from the Smoky Mountains, and I've been seeing their videos, and I'm just like, oh, if Gatlinburg didn't have so much traffic, I would go there more often. But I hate their traffic so much. It just stresses me out. When I go to that area, not even gonna lie, best thing for me to do is just get a room and then walk to the places that I want to go. And then if I want to go into the park, if somebody tries to push me, I just pull over and say, okay, go right on ahead. I'm going to take my time. The Van Buren train is amazing. See, I kind of want to do that. That's on my list. I also have on my list the pedal car near Oklahoma City where they have the old track and now you get to pedal it. I want to do that. My dad and I were talking about doing that. So maybe we'll do that on one of our adventures. How is my dry flyer holding up? Dry flyer. Brain is not braining right now. Dry flyer. Explain. Lost. Brain not braining. 79 in New Jersey. Awesome. Haven't been to Jersey since I stayed in Newark for 2 weeks for a job that I did. And it was fun. But I will say, I would not recommend staying at the Hilton in Newark. Just saying. Um, Arizona moving to Emory. Oh, the air fryer. Yeah, the air fryer is great. Sorry, I was like, I was just lost. The air fryer is doing super, super well. I love that thing. It's probably one of the best pieces of cooking equipment that I have in the van for convenience purposes. Works so, so well. I'm kind of sad though, because again, I'll be talking a little bit more about this in the coming weeks of what's going on, but I may not keep it in the van for the time being. I'll probably put it back in there, but for the time being, because of some things I'm changing with my diet, I probably will take it out temporarily just because. And so I'm debating still on if I'm going to do that. But it would be nice to free up the space that it takes for some other things. So I'm always changing things up. Let's see. Southern California, 70 and sunny. Oh, I'm jealous of 70 and sunny in California. Man, whenever I left out, it was hot and I did not make it to San Diego. And I was so sad because that was my goal was like, I want to say probably whenever people figured out I was going in that direction, I had probably 20 different suggestions for places that people wanted to see me go. And I was just like, I want to go, I want to go. And then I was going to go to San Diego so that I could see Tiny Fest because Asia and Sam were at Tiny Fest. But I had to pivot. And by pivoting, I was so sad. Let me know on the rail bike trip. Absolutely. Like, I don't know when we're planning on doing it. Again, the weather. We'll see what happens. Spokane Valley, rainy and 50. It's beautiful up there, though. So even when it's rainy and 50, it's still lovely. I love that area. Like all of Washington. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this side of Washington is not, and this side is. And I'm like, no, all of Washington is cool because like you have so many different things you can see within that area. So there's so many cool things. So even if you're in like the drier side of Washington, it's still nice. So like, yeah. Although I will say this, whenever I was in Spokane directly, it was harder to stay in that area. And I understand why, because like I saw signs everywhere basically about homelessness and stuff. And I was like, okay, I get it. I understand. But also, I did stop off there to office though a couple days. So it was pretty nice. Oh, hang on for a second. Let's see what we got going on here. Riley is texting me currently, and she is basically telling me that she's still at work and probably not going to make our live. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Other than that, though, let's see. If you're ever up here, more than welcome. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind. I don't know when I'm going to get up that way again. I'm not sure. Again, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going over the entirety of like the late spring, early summer. And then I know where I'm going to end up late summer, almost fall. I have a plan for that part already. And it's just a very vague plan, but it is a plan. And so my goal is to kind of get to those plans for sure because they are locked down. I'm going to be going to my friends. They're having a meetup that's just like our little friend group. It's kind of like the same group that comes to Van Miss. So we're going to do that. And then I probably will make my way toward another event that I'm interested in. So we'll see. We'll see how that part turns out. But I know for a fact I'm going to my friend's gathering because I didn't get to go last time and I'm super sad. But yeah, don't have to ask me twice if I want to get up there and see my people. No, of course I do. But more so like, yeah, of course I do. Let's see. I got a mini cabin last time. I was in Gatlinburg. Yeah, those are awesome. We have a couple of friends who that's what they do every time they go up and they try out different kinds of cabins. And it's really cool to see some of the places that they've been. And the prices weren't so bad because they booked during the week, not during summertime. And so they got some pretty good deals. At the same time, during summertime, at any point, it is just chaotic. I noticed that they opened up a new mini golf there, a Scooby Doo mini golf, and I'm so jealous because, again, Dad's not ready to travel or anything, and I don't know that he would want to drive the shuttle through downtown Gatlinburg. I don't blame him. But if we were to find a place that we could kind of like come and go from where we could all go up there, we'd have a mini golf-a-thon because they have so many mini golfs up there. When I was up there last, I was by myself, so it wasn't as much fun to mini golf. Have you ever mini golfed by yourself? I have. I did it and I was like, I'll practice. It's not the same. The pressure is different. You feel not as gratified when you do well. It's just not the same. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh my goodness, no, the congestion is coming back. Not again. No. Oh, also, I wanted to say I had several people asking me about the dino event that I went to. I loved it. It's not for everyone. I understand that. It is okay. I loved it. It was so much fun. And it was really reminiscent of the animatronics that I saw when I was a kid. So as we're out there, I was completely geeking out. I probably looked like a kid. And what was super funny was there's other people who were there. So as they're driving around and they're getting out their legit kids, their kids are like, yay! And I'm over here like, I'm going to wait because I want my time with this dinosaur. But it was so fun. Hiking is often better alone. I agree. I enjoy hiking um, by myself sometimes. Big trails, I like to hike with a friend just for safety purposes. But like, I really enjoy smaller trails by myself. They're peaceful. I am a social person, but at the same time, because of the way that I stop and I film and I do all these things, I enjoy the peaceful moments from point A to point B where I'm just calm. And that's really, really nice. However, again, safety purposes on the big ones, I like to have a friend just because, the world is weird. Strange things happen. I don't do snakes. I don't want to run and then twist my ankle and then be like, "Oh no, I'm just here." Oh, but yeah, those are kind of the differences though. I think mini golf is much more social. It's more fun when there's a competition. It's like you can go to a batting cage and you can go right on ahead, but if you have somebody that you're like, "Oh, I hit the ball 5 times, you only hit it 3," it's way more fun to make things competitive sometimes. Now, mind you, competitive doesn't necessarily have to mean like nasty. It can be like just fun, and I think that that's the best part. Additionally, I know what else I was going to tell you guys. If you are in Texas, in southern Texas specific, they have opened the Houston Meow Wolf. It is the new installation. So that's the only one I have not been to. So if at any point in time I do get to southern Texas, I'm going to go there. I don't know if that's going to happen because, again, the weather keeps weathering all over the place. But if I get down there, I will go to the new Meow Wolf because I have no idea what this one looks like. I haven't looked at any of the spoilers. I like to go to the Meow Wolf like installations kind of as is. I don't want to know too much. I want to go in and be like, "Oh, wow, cool." Because that's the intrigue of them is that they're this unique world that you just get to be a part of and you get to find all of these strange little things from the big grand things like for example the difference between Vegas and Denver, different worlds altogether. One is based off of a grocery store and the other one is based off of like this unique like treehouse world. That's all I'm going to tell you about them. If you haven't seen the videos, you can go watch. I do not think that it's for everyone because sometimes there's flashing lights, sometimes there's crawl throughs, but I think that everyone could enjoy it if you are a person who has an open mind to weird experiences. But the Houston one, I don't know what it's about. I have no idea. So I need to go down there. And there's another place that's kind of similar to Meow Wolf. It's another interactive thing. I'd like to go to that too. But Houston traffic is one of my least favorite traffics in the entire nation. Houston and Atlanta. I hate them. I've never, let's see, I've driven in LA, didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was what was to be expected by LA. I've driven in New York, and interestingly enough, I did okay in New York. I was shocked by that, and I was driving someone else's vehicle, and it made me so nervous. But at the same time, I felt like I did better in that than I did in the loop in Atlanta. Atlanta's loop is the most frustrating loop that you'll ever drive in. I hate it. But Houston is like right up there with it. If you hit rush hour, you might as well just give up. And people in Houston don't take speed limit as like the actual speed limit. It is a suggestion and it is not honored. And you're going to get killed if you don't know what you're doing when you're driving. Like literally, people just, and you won't even see them coming. So it's not my favorite city to drive in. So that's why I'm still like, am I going? Am I not? Am I going? Am I not? I don't know. Oh, it's thundering again. Great. That means we're going to get some weirdness, which means that if for any reason I go dark, we just lost power. It's fine. That's the plight of living in Texas. Although I do have, so fun story. I keep all my power stations completely and totally charged up so that while I am here, I can not worry about power. So all the power stations that you've seen on my channel, whenever I get here, I make sure that for the most part, they're all charged so that if something happens and we don't have power, I have power and my parents have power. And I've already had to use a power station while I've been home. Yay! I almost had to use a refrigerator too because we had power outage for an extended amount of time. Tonight, they're anticipating that we're going to get some gnarly storms, and usually when that happens, we lose power. Last night, we lost power at approximately 3 a.m. I had no idea because I was asleep. Woke up this morning to all the flashing clocks, and I was like, "Oh, cool, we lost power again." At least while I was sleeping this time. But for that reason, I don't keep anything plugged in my house if I know there's going to be a storm, unless it has a battery backup. So, yeah, that's the unfortunate part. You've driven in LA, Dallas, and Houston or worth. Dallas doesn't bother me because I lived there. Um, that's the big thing, though. If you live in Dallas, you learn Dallas. If you don't live in Dallas, it's always going to be a pain. But living in Dallas, you kind of learn how to miss some of those things that are the hangups for everybody else. And that was definitely a game changer. Now, if I go out in Dallas now, I haven't lived there since 2017. It is slightly different. So, what I prefer to do when I go there now is if I am meeting friends, I go to the places that I feel comfortable, that I know I'm safe, that I know my van is going to be good or my car is going to be good. And from there, I'm like, hey, come pick me up. That way I don't have to drive because they're used to it. It's not that I can't navigate around in it. It's just that why? If you have someone else who you're going to go out and do stuff with anyway. Now, with that said, I may be going to Dallas next week if the weather is not weird. I do not want to drive down there if the weather's weird, but if the weather's not weird, I'll go down there and have a couple things that I have planned. So we'll see. We'll see if I still feel that way after that. You need a taser gun and bear spray. Bear spray, definitely. Um, Let me preface this by saying if you have a taser, know how to use the taser in a way that's not going to allow someone else to have access to the taser. I watched this lady a long time ago, and one of the biggest things that she said was that she had something and she wasn't aware of how to use it correctly, and it ended up basically giving that to the person who was aggressive toward her because she had no idea what she was doing, and they turned it on her and used it against her. So after that, I was always like, oh, okay, cool. I also did a short self-defense class whenever I lived in Dallas, and the guy who did the self-defense class, he said that the leading cause for women to have issues, women specifically, because this was a women's safety class, was that they are not educated about their items that they're bringing with them. And because of that, you basically render yourself defenseless. If you have to pull a thing and do a thing, it's already too late. You need to have that where you can just immediately use it. He was talking about in reference to like pepper sprays, tasers, Also, making sure that from state to state, if you're traveling, that those things are legal in that state because some states don't allow you to have certain access to certain items. Um, I will never ever tell people, oh my gosh, you need to have XYZ. Because if you have XYZ and don't know what you're doing with XYZ, you just might as well not have XYZ. I also tell people all the time that anything in your space is a weapon if you need it. For example, if somebody tries to break into my van in the night, I could access one of my tools that I have for my safety. Or if realistically somebody is trying to aggressively get me, I'm going to take a power station and bonk them on the head with it because that is 25 to 30 pounds coming directly at your noggin. That's going to hurt a lot worse and probably disable you a bit more than me shuffling around to grab something. Anything that you can reach, you fight for your life if somebody's coming after you. Now, have I ever had that experience in 8 years? No, I have not. But at the same time, I feel like it is so important for us to realize that the world around us is just as much of a commodity to us for getting help when we're in a pinch. So don't tie yourself just to one specific thing that you think is going to be your go-to. Think of the world in the way of, okay, if someone were to come in right now, what do I have? I have this book. It may seem silly, but this book is better than me having nothing in my hands whatsoever. I could throw my cell phone. I wouldn't recommend doing that because you need to call 911 on it. But at the same time, if you have anything that is heavier or stronger, those are tools that you can utilize. Again, I don't like to give specific safety advice for each individual person, but this is the bigger picture. You need to always be aware of everything around you. So when you put your van together in a way that you have easy grab to many things. I've met some women who stash knives in different places. Cool. But if you do that, never put that on your channel. Because if you have a channel and you tell people where it is, if they see you grab for it, guess what? They know what you're grabbing for. So don't do that. If you like to carry around a pew-pew, that's all we're going to call it because we're on YouTube. If you want to carry around a pew-pew, do not tell people that you have a pew-pew because guess what? Now they know that that's what you're going to come with. And if they are prepared for that, that's going to be bad. Look at the people who were in, I think it was Australia, who had the side of their van shot. If someone knows that they're coming up to your camp and they know that you have a pew-pew, they're not going to come into your van because you have the pew-pew. What they're going to do is they're going to take you out from outside of the van. That's unfortunate, but that is the honest to God truth. And that is basically what the self-defense guy told us in a roundabout way when I was living in Dallas for our regular lives. He said, if you have, like, for example, if you have a way that you are going to keep something in your room at your house, and you've told even an ex-boyfriend that it's there, guess what? If that ex-boyfriend is the aggressor, he now knows where your tools are to protect yourself. So keep those things secret. Don't tell people. It doesn't matter if you want to feel big and bad by saying, oh yeah, I have this. The minute you tell somebody you have it is the minute that you are no longer big and bad because now the world knows. So it's better to have the element of surprise in those cases. And that's why I'm saying if you have a book, if you have a power station, if you have anything, those are going to be much more surprising than you shuffling around for something that clearly is obviously there. So I hope that that's helpful. And I know that sounds really scary. And again, in 8 years, I've never had to use any of those things, but it's something that especially as women, but also men should realize. I watched a van tour once of a guy who had a secret compartment and he told where the secret compartment was. But not just that, he told what he puts in the secret compartment. Don't do that. Don't do that. um, yes, a large crescent wrench in your purse. Nobody's going to expect you to be like, whack. Nobody. Whenever I tent camped, I carried around things that I could have access to and then also that I would have in my tent. I had a pickaxe. That was a big pickaxe. And at the same time, it was light enough where I could do some damage. Because if an animal came and attacked me in my tent, I'm going to whack it and then run back to my vehicle, get inside as fast as I can, because that's the only defense I had with the thin liner of a tent. Same thing if a person did that. Now, again, do I say that everyone should have a pickaxe? No. Again, I don't think that I should be telling you what you should feel comfortable with. The storm is a brewing. Definitely a brewing. I do have a few things that are helpful. In fact, I have something that I got for Christmas that I want to show you guys. I might do a little video of it just so you can see it. Not necessarily for the defense strategy of it, but for the practicality of camp. And so I might do a little video to highlight that at some point in the next few weeks, just so you can see it. But again, I don't think that it's important for you to stick to one thing, because one thing may not be the thing that actually works in that moment. Breathless, it's not necessarily you have to rethink your safety tools, but more so just envision what you're going to feel the most comfortable with if something were to happen. And the best thing that you can do, and it sounds scary to most people and it sounds like you're over preparing, but before you go out on any trips, sit in your space and say, okay, if somebody were to like try to break into my back door, what am I going to do? If I was laying down in my bed, what am I going to do? If somebody were to try to break in through my front door, what would I do? And envision how you would move in that situation based on the access points that you have to make sure you're safe. But always remember, like, this is a big one for me. I always keep my keys right by me, like right by me. It doesn't matter where I am. If I step out of the van, the keys are there with me. If I'm in the van, the keys are there with me. If I am on an adventure, the keys are with me. Always. They're clipped to my Murphy bag, or they're in my pocket, or they're on a hook. But I always can just grab them if I need to, because A, I have pepper spray, which I think every woman should have pepper spray. That's one thing I will say. You should have pepper spray, but you should know how to use it. So find out how to use it. Make sure that you get the gel, not the spray, because the gel doesn't have blowback the same way as the spray. If you get the regular spray and it blows back, you've just put yourself through pepper spray. Now, pepper spray is not the most effective thing, and some people have a huge tolerance to it. So that's why I'm saying it's good. But my pepper spray also has a breaker on it where it actually can break a window. And that's the other reason why I keep it with me, is because if something happened and I was stuck in my van, I can break my window and get out. So those are good things to know. Again, I don't want to tell you guys that you need to have all of these things or none of these things, but those are things that you should look into and just kind of assess how you feel the most comfortable moving, and then place things according to that. If you feel the most comfortable, like having a little cubby and having everything like right here, okay, but think of a larger scale thing that you can also utilize in that space that you already have. You don't have to necessarily go and spend a lot of money to go get yet another thing to defend yourself with, but you should be thinking about defending yourself in a worst case scenario. Again, 8 years, never had to do that. But just in case, the world's a little weird right now, so protect yourself. Always think about that. Yes, yes, lots of rumblings. And it is starting to rain, indeed. Probably going to hear a lot of rain. Also, we'll start to wrap this up pretty soon, because the harder that it rains, the more likely, unfortunately, again, the power situation. And I don't want it to be like boom, and then we're gone. I'm going to unplug my computer while we're at it, just because, again, we don't plug things in while we have the storm. Oh, funny story. Somebody asked me, because I don't have insulation in my van, how the storms affect me when I'm in the van. It's kind of a funny thing. A lot of times, whenever I'm in the van and it is storming, the sound, if it's really hard and heavy, it used to just hit directly onto the roof. Then I added the roof box, and then I added the solar panel. And now it hits, but it's not quite as hard, but it's still very loud in my van. So I've gotten to where, the little speaker that I have showed you guys on here, the really neat one that pops up, has the lantern, all of that, has the crank. I can Bluetooth that to my phone. So if I'm watching TV on my phone, I Bluetooth it to the speaker so I can actually hear it. I don't like to wear my headphones in my van, because even though my headphones are really, really great, they're noise canceling, whenever I put these on, I can't hear outside of this. So again, going back to the safety equation, if I were in the rain and I did this and somebody banged on my window, I would not know. So instead, what I do is I try to have an external speaker that I can have sound with, and I always keep my ears free of any kind of blockage from the outside noises, just because I need to be able to hear those things. Those glass breakers will do damage to a bad person too. Exactly. That is why I have that particular one. I think that everyone should have, again, lots of methods for which they can be protected. And if that means that you have to have hand-to-hand physical contact, then you need to be prepared. Self-defense class years ago, but times have changed. They have changed. There's some great self-defense resources on YouTube, I've noticed. A woman a while back, she sent me a few different things that she had looked into, and they were things that were just like very easy things that most people could do, but at the same time were very helpful. Another thing that I personally learned, like when I was in Dallas, is a lot more people are concerned whenever you say fire than whenever you say help. And so if you are in a crowded area and somebody tries to steal your purse or do something bad like that, getting people's attention is going to be super important. And if nobody sees what happens, imploring people to be aware is sometimes the bigger picture. So when are we doing mini golf again? I'm not sure. We have to figure that out. I was talking about this a little bit ago. We have some courses that we've kind of looked at, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So we got to figure that part out. And then we have to have a showdown. Let's see. Other than that, I think that we've kind of addressed all the things. This week's going to be super fun. I hope you guys enjoy all of the throwback videos that I'm going to have. Again, I'm not sure what all of those are going to look like, but I have, I think, 5 or 6 of them that are going to come out. And so you'll just see these old videos and you'll be like, why? It's because we're doing a throwback thanks to 8 years on the road. I am so excited. Many more years to come. I have more than enough things that I can go to keep us busy for a very long time. I think that a lot of people who think of the picture of, oh, I need to go abroad, don't think about all of the cool things that we have here. And my goal has always been to highlight those. Now, at some point, would I like to go abroad also? Yes, I would. Especially for my little special project that I'll be sharing soon. But that's, again, that wouldn't happen anytime soon. Because number one, I still don't even have my passport. I got to work on that. My bad, guys. But also, I think that in order for me to go from point A to point B, I need to get a little further along in the planning portion of the process, which is why I'm going to enlist you guys, I think next month, to help me figure out some of these dead ends. But it's going to be fun and lots of stuff to come. I'll let you guys know a little bit more whenever I figure out kind of a few more of the details of my year, and you'll start seeing me kind of moving in those directions. But again, kind of wrapping everything up, look out for some product reviews, some cool adventures in Texas, some interesting things that answer some of your questions. And then also I have some really neat, fun things to do with a special guest. So it'll be really, really cool. But for now, since the weather is starting to pick up, I don't want to have my laptop out here willy-nilly if there's lightning and thunder. So I am going to wrap it up for now. I appreciate each and every one of you who came and hung out with me. Thank you so much. And we'll try to do one of these sooner rather than later. In fact, maybe I'll do a live when my special guest arrives. What do you guys think? Do you want to see who the special guest is whenever we do the live, or do you want me to tell you before? I mean, I'll probably tell you before. But also, like, do you want us to do a live? Yes. Maybe, possibly. We'll get working on that. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you guys again. Have a good evening. And since it's like 6 o'clock, I should probably figure out what I'm going to eat for dinner too. So, bye.